All right. Strege, duck.
Huh?
With the sound of a bowstring snapping, I heard behind me as an arrow was loosed and a doll suite was once more impacted. Her body was almost slammed against the library bookshelf, and with that, the body seemed to almost squirm for a bit until eventually just going limp. I suppose you did it? They're not that sturdy.
I expect them to put up more of a fight.
I mean, this isn't the first time we've stabbed Miss Sweet, so...
Yeah, I bet there's more where that came from.
They're most certainly not done. Wherever these dolls are coming from, I'm sure there's more, and it seems like they're planning something. What are we going to do?
Okay. I think I have a plan. Yeah, I definitely have a plan. I stood as tall as I could to try to draw everybody's attention to me, inspiring a fierce look of confidence. I then turned and ran. Picking up speed as I developed almost a technique for preserving my sprint and carrying it forward almost to an aggressive roll. I darted my way forwards, placing the full fabric of my shroud against the back of this pillar. From the other side, however, I heard an awful grinding, scrambling noise.
I could barely make out the form of Umami in the dark as it twisted its way around and something unexpected happened. As it moved, it seemed to warp its way around, and as all the dolls, they had seemed to be attached to these long strings that decorated the way across the room, building these tapestries in motion as they weaved and swirled around. This one, however, was far more forceful, as Umami's form was almost launched, and I realized at that moment, actually fully launched away from the string as the body started wildly flailing out, swinging its mouth up and down as large chomping teeth emerged, as the entire doll was simply launched away from the string, which fell back into the cavernous deeps behind the wall, as the mouth
Umami!
reached out, bit down, and immediately started chewing at Yayo's neck region.
In this moment, I saw something round the column that I considered, at least passingly, to be the most acceptable of the dolls. The kindest, truly the only smiling face that I'd seen amongst them, with a smile I could trust. But that smile, it was lined with teeth all the way back, and as that horrific form dived towards me, undulating through the air like a serpent, it attached to my furs deep inside my cloak, and I started to spin, slamming it multiple times against the column. I whirled, I turned, and then I threw like a shot put at that other doll.
It seemed as though Yayo, although injured, seemed to have tossed the doll through the air. You could see Umami's almost quite literally a rag doll as it just started flying through the air and heading to the direction of the other doll, who seemed to, if not fully be able to block it, sort of just caught her and held her back for a moment until you could hear the voice call out, "It's no fair! I'm not attacked first, I'm attacked second, and then I'm throwing Umami at me! This sucks! I hate everything! Why does everyone gotta bully me? First I'm the first one to die, and now I'm the last one to get killed again? It's no one can decide on if they hate me or not! I wanna be the main villain! I wanna be the main villain!" After ranting about some sort of nonsense, she ended up tossing Umami back at Yayo.
No!
Oh my god, no!
Are you serious?
You could see the toss was full of some sort of bitter, or sour, I suppose, rage as she tossed it back. It seemed her frustration was activated within Umami for a moment, as Umami's form, even though disconnected, seemed to shift, as if the spirit was still alive inside. No, they're just whispers. Oh, that's such an easy... Unfortunately, my thoughts of how easy it would be to deal with them were cut short by the fact that the whisper opened its mouth again, chomping its teeth, and directly impact into the slot open on the face that Yayo had in the shroud. It was like a perfect plugged hole as the entire mouth chomped around the side of Yayo's cheeks. While distracted by the grand spectacle behind us, they had suddenly heard the noise of a shuffling, as the one known as Madame Bitter almost turned around and seemed to just sneakily attempt to toss something at us from behind. Arcot was rather swift on her feet, however, as she quickly turned around, dodged down to the side, and you could see some small, somewhat insignificant item just simply tossed down next to her. A kind of large bowl with a handle that seemed to just roll on the ground for a moment before stopping. Bitter, frustrated with this, sort of snapped out loud, "Hold still, you churl!"
Did you just throw a mug at me?
Yes! It's probably a whisper, just look out for it.
Wait, the mug?
Yes, the mug.
Okay. Following Yayo's lead, I'm just gonna continue running, so as I turn the corner, I witness something truly horrifying. as I come over and remove the doll from Yayo's face.
Oh my god. That was so vicious. This is what dogs are like? Oh my god. My entire face.
I simply throw this dead menace to the side. Look, just, so your plan is just get out of here?
Oh god, yeah. God.
Okay.
I only had to lean gently out of the way to avoid the mug being thrown by Better. But it seemed that she felt left out of the circumstances, so I felt it only polite to go over and say hello. So what do you think you're doing here, then?
You could see the doll almost retreat very slightly, being cautious. You have learned too much. It is simply a matter that you and your insipid kind must stay in your place. Unless, of course, you are willing to perhaps burn what you have learned. Keep it hidden for now. Apologize for poking your heads where you don't belong.
Oh, it makes sense that we should all think in subtle ways about dangerous knowledge. As I engaged with the doll, keeping her distracted from the circumstances at hand, I saw the silvery thread that connected her to the tunnel in the wall and decided instead to go and give that a harsh tug.
I could see Garginus's subtle attempt to try to thread the lace that connected Bitter to the wall. I could start to see small little pieces of objects filtering out from her coat, preparing to throw. I then decided to shout out, warning Garginus, "Garginus, she's doing something!" Which, in an almost responsive instinct, she jutted back, not noticing that the lace had already been tied, as she held her items back and almost spoke bitterly, I suppose. There shall be no peace for you, no forgiveness.
Oh my, the last doll I owned was less chatty. I gave the thread looped through my needle a swift tug.
What have you done?
Oh, it's fine. I just noticed that you were unraveling a little bit at the hem and did some alterations. See? As I lifted one arm to the side as a gracious gesture to say ta-da, I smiled in delight as her left arm did the same.
You churl, you brute! This is unacceptable. Of course you would do this. All of you do this. You scum. Oh, what I would give to bash your head against that stone pillar right now.
Oh, that sounds like a really good idea. Let's try that with your friends, shall we?
I swiftly walked on over to Garginus. Small little coyness playing in my expression for a second. Well then, do you want to see how far we can pull her?
Oh, that sounds like a delightful idea. Let's.
The previous spat almost completely out of my mind, I moved on and forward, reached out and attempted to grab her. With Garginus's guidance, I started pulling as hard as I could, ripping with my good arm as I walked backwards and started sprinting around the edge. It seemed like as we went, I got about to I would say 30 to 60 feet, somewhere between that range, before finally the thread started to tug. At which point I pulled harder, ripped off and launched in the air, and the strings almost seemed to be guided by Garginus as her entire body started flinging forward. It seemed the one in an assault barely managed to duck down in time before Bitter had hit the wall and begun sliding down. afterwards. It looks like they can only go about 60 feet from where they exit from. And furthermore, they're quite soft and they make a soft little thud when they hit the wall.
Huh.
Does that help us in any way?
An informative record for the journal.
Yeah, you sound delighted.
It's very interesting.
How dare you do this to us? You're gonna pay!
I saw her pick up Bitter's body, hanging there, as she attempted to toss it through the air directly back at me. As the doll of Bitter flew through the air, I ended up sort of reaching my hand up and catching it. The swiftness of the response seemed to shock Salty for a moment, but I just found myself fascinated with this. I held the doll and flung it around in my hand a few times, watching the way that it seemed to connect up, and at a certain point I just sort of reached inside with one of my hands and started prodding around the little doll mouth, to which a surprising amount of moistness seemed to emerge from inside. I reached a little deeper and pulled out, ripping out what I thought was a tongue, which in actuality turned out to be a little bit of a tendril that seemed to leach out from the inside. I also noticed what other end was attached to the small little string that came out the bout seemed to move too. Oh, interesting. Oh my goodness, this must be connected to some larger monster. I wonder what it looks like. Maybe it's got some sort of multi-thousand armed hands, each one holding a doll? Perhaps these are the hands. I think we're dealing with something far bigger than this.
Great.
The joy reverberated in my mind for a moment as immediately another form sort of darted down and attempted to bite at my neck. As the other one came by, I swiftly turned my attention, turned over to the other one approaching, trying to grab me, and I reached out to grab it directly, holding my hand out. Holding my hand out, I almost held one in my good hand, while the other bony hand reached out, grabbing at the teeth, as I reached forward and sort of held at her via the tongue. Holding dolls in both hands, I started comparing the way that one that was alive moved versus one that was dead. I started to tug and pull at the tongue on the inside, waiting to see exactly what would happen when it was pulled out. I kept doing this until I think I pulled a little too hard, and unfortunately it seemed to disconnect from the other thing, and the doll sort of came limp as well. I felt a small bit of sadness at this for a moment, but all the same, I dropped the other one and sort of kept examining Bitter. As all the Goloins started moving, I noticed that one form started darting around the corner, excitedly holding a number of tomes.
I think I got everything. Not everything.
That's great. Great work.
Excellent.
Yeah. All right. So, oh wow, you did really good. They're all...
Almost interrupting that note. A small elated note for me, but I suppose a dangerous note, is one that all of the dolls that seem to have been disconnected, they all simply sat still, but the chutes that they came from reopened up again. As I noticed emerging out, more dolls seemed to pop out, those of the very same as the ones we had recently defeated, as a number of them started to emerge out as if they weren't even damaged in the first place. Sweet, the first one to emerge out, waved out to everyone.
Hey everyone! It's so great to see you all again! I'm so happy we could all fight together one more time!
And then, emerging out from another corner,
Oh, why do I keep dying?
and it seemed as though, step by step, more and more dolls continued to emerge out, Umami forming behind and making a signature rallying cry, Umami! to the two in behind, as one more seemed to form out by the entrance, that one seeming to be Bitter, who had once more emerged out from the distance, saying something in a hushed tone that wasn't quite able to be picked up from this distance.
As I moved forwards towards the middle of the library to stand behind Melanius, raising my hand as though I had mastered necromancy before, Yayo, the inert doll known as Bitter sprung to life, and ventriloquism was a course I did as a summer course at university, and decided to put it into practice. The drawer of Bitter opened and shut as it moved towards Mademoiselle Salty. Oh, dear sister, we've spent such a long time apart, but I think there's something of yours that I would like back, please.
Huh? Wait, aren't you dead?
We'll never be apart, sister, not until you return what you stole.
I could see Salty's expression shifting before eventually going back,
You don't get to tell me what to do. It's mine now. Mine. I'm keeping it. It's mine. Go away.
And then, almost shoving the doll as it sort of shoveled back again, it seemed that Salty almost seemed to just cower behind the shelf a bit, poking out, and I could see more of those strange, toothed tongues moving behind her mouth. At which point it seemed Salty almost seemed to move back to the hole and sort of withdraw back, escaping down into the hole and heading somewhere.
Seeing all the action under me, I remembered Yayo's plan of running away. And seeing how these dolls are seemingly being produced infinitely, it wasn't looking good to just stay and fight. Alright, I think we should start running.
Running? Okay, yeah, I'll do that.
No, not until I get it back.
Upon hearing Garchunus say that, I stopped and turned over. You want to get the shroud back, don't you?
Of course I do.
All right, then. I might have an idea. Can you give me your string again?
By all means.
I moved forward, picked up the bitter doll, and then, with all I could muster, I moved forward, peeled open this small little indent, which was perfectly sized for the dolls, and then, using all the weight I could in my good arm, I tossed it down, directly down into that hole. All right, just start twisting it. I sort of held on my end as well the string until eventually we just started feeding it down. We started guiding it, and I started to try to feel my way and sort of see the impact points, feel when it stopped moving, and started to just push our way down into this little labyrinth till I could maybe find something to snag on. All right, tug a little bit. As I did, I could feel an impact, hitting something, but in that moment, everything just went limp. Damn it, I think they got it. They must have cut the line.
We'll have to go and take another one then.
I stopped for a moment, also sort of locked up in the curiosity of where I could find this. At that point, I didn't really even consider what was going on in the other side of the room.
I quickly picked up the doll of my most now despised enemy, and tucked it into my bag. Spinning on my heel, I began to move. Seeing the clock over in the distance, I knew salvation rested on the other side, but moving that would take a great effort. Stray Gang, can I leave that to you?
Leave what?
Points over at the clock.
Sure.
Okay. I then ran forward, picking up speed, building momentum as I traveled towards the doll, the one I'd been in direct conflict with up to this point. I picked the bag over my head and unhinged its horrible jaw. Having properly separated my two sacks, one for mercantile goods and the other for less savory occasions, I darted my way forwards and, picking up speed, I picked up the bag and swung it almost like a pillowcase in a pillow fight. But where it cut through the air, all that was left of the doll was the exact point below the area of direct impact of the pillowcase. Two legs stood standing, unadorned, still stock upright, as the main body was lost within the mass of the bag, its teeth gnawing and gnashing before firing, jettisoning a line of slime off into the distance.
Deal with the clock. I don't really know what that means. I look around at the surrounding dolls, everything around me. The Garchunus and Melania's going fishing. I guess the best thing I can do is try to secure the exit for when they grab it and we can run. So I examine this clock.
Broiling in the corner, there was the sound of Miss Bitter, who usually spoke in these softer, disdainful tones, suddenly lash out very loudly and suddenly. Bitter, who was normally so quiet and disdainful, launched herself out and started flailing rapidly, slamming down a stake immediately to Stray Gay before starting to move into the direction of the others. Turtle. Varmint! As she moved on over, she found her way to Arcat and once more tried to stab. The second stake went in, as she once more continued to curse. Knaves! All of you!
You vile, worthless Goloins, wasting my time, ignoring me, treating everyone else with so much more respect. For what? Wake up!
As she said that out loud, all of the stakes seemed to start twirling and twisting and biting down, each whisper biting into all of them.
Ow, 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 ow.
Ow, what the heck? What are you putting me?
Eat, children, eat! Eat them to death! Chew them alive!
Seems like she might be a little lost, I thought to myself.
She really is lost, don't you think?
As if stealing the words from my mind, Sweet drifted down for a moment and started pulling herself closer.
Say, you know, what do they call you? Willingness? I noticed you all those times, and it was quite interesting. You don't care about these Goloins, do you, miss? You're an adventurer. There's something special we have for you.
I heard the words come to mind. I felt a twinge of that anger start coming back to my mind for a moment as I sort of looked. You're assuming an awfully lot about me, aren't you, Sweet? You didn't even talk to me. Just shut up. I felt myself pushed on slightly a bit as I once more tugged at the string and sort of held myself firm as I turned around, not choosing to internalize, ask, or listen to her sweetened words. I simply held myself strong, preparing to reach out and, however quick I could, to grab her and shove her into that hole behind me. She started to dance around just out of range for me as I started to reach over and look somewhat of the fool as she kept just sort of laughing away from me. And meanwhile, far into the distance as Etete was carrying books, a much fiercer demon began moving in on her.
Ow! 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 This thing hurts! Ah! Get off!
I noticed Etete pulling as hard as she could until eventually she just started moving, running a good distance a ways until eventually she found herself moving across, her vision continually darting until at some point she seemed to have left the doll at its maximum range, and then finishing the run, she pushed her way as quick as she could, going for a full sprint and then moving down. As she did, she finally made herself almost close to where Arcot was.
Oh, everything's so exciting! Oh my goodness! Oh, hey, Arcot.
Yeah?
Is this what it's always like to be a fighter? Is this what it's like to leave town?
Usually don't fight dolls or find secrets about your, home. Oh my gosh.
What? What's that?
Hold on, I start bandaging the large gaping wound.
More dolls seemed to pull themselves out, going from all the exits as I noticed all of the Goloins moving around and shifting their own way as I sort of held myself close to here. It seemed like they wouldn't stop coming. An almost never-ending wave of different dolls continuing to pour out from every which direction.
I have an idea, Strigay.
Yeah?
Okay, here's what we do. We pull these things out of us, and we nail her to the wall.
Yeah,
It won't kill her, but it'll keep her stuck.
that's actually exactly what I was thinking.
Alright, you take the left arm, I'll take the right arm.
What are you doing?
I rip out this whisper she implanted in me and go to do what our cat said and try to pin what's this doll's name? I don't care. Against the wall. And then the stake went limp, following her will, and I didn't accomplish this task before she retaliated. And the stake just wiggled around and bit me again.
Seeing how the stakes are whispers and are able to wiggle around and move in response to being attached to Bitter, I drop my whisper and pull out my bow. I train it on Bitter. If you move, I'll shoot.
You would dare threaten me?
She shifted around and started putting her attention towards Arcot. You could hear the shouting from here that she was getting caught up about something. Whatever was going on, though, it seemed she was too distracted yelling to do anything else, as she just kept going uninterrupted.
You would insult me, you tiny, tiny little woman?
I'm a Goloin. You're very tall for my height, thank you very much.
You are whisper food. You deserve to be eaten. That is all you're good for. You're not tall. You'll be in the ground. You'll be dirt.
She seemed to just start flailing out whispers from a distance as I turned my head over the library to see. One of them just simply impacting into Arcot through the robe and biting onto her stomach.
Okay, better
the earth. Let's go. Hang on. Wait, what's going on over there?
I noticed that Etete turned her attention back and looked over in our way to the negotiation and process.
Now, sweet, I'm sure you understand the circumstances here. While my allies are very interested in stepping away from this circumstance, you stole the shroud from the Orion, and I want it back. And I'm going to sever you from the network again and again and again until you give it back.
I looked across the way. It was hard to really witness from a distance, but gathering the account, I saw the bravery within his heart. Perhaps from our conversation, perhaps due to his nature instead. In fact, I'm quite sure of it. It seemed that our brave Gartrinus refused to let something like this die down. In terms of matter of honor and respect, Gartrinus above all else was far too invested to let some tiny little doll get away with insulting him, the culture, Batakanatat, or anyone. So in that moment, he simply grabbed the doll, sewed her, and started pulling away threads, pushing her down, deep against the library, asking fiercely, ready to tear away thread by thread until any of them talked. Perhaps it was a fear inside of her heart, or a fear in the collective, or some other reason, but intent was registered across the way, even to a being that had no love of its own life, as it then spoke up again.
You want the shroud, then you're gonna have to... You can find it. Sure. It's simple. All you have to do is go down. You go down, you'll find where it's stored. I can't take it, but I'm sure someone down there can if you just go to the house.
The house?
Down where?
Beneath the mountain, in the mines. All you gotta do is go.
That sounds like a dangerous place. Why would you go and put the shroud there?
Oh, well, you see, it's just where the house is, you know? See, I'm just being nice. I'm just trying to help. I can't tell you everything.
You're unraveling, sweet.
I'm trying to help.
You know, Gartrinus, I learned that if you reach your hand in, you can start pulling out their tongues. It's very interesting. In fact, it seems they're connected by that. As you sort of pull away, I'm kind of curious if you could start just kind of peeling parts off. I kind of want to get a full idea of what this tongue looks like. If it's not...
It's fine. I can unstitch the face.
Yeah. If it's not going to talk, we could simply just unstitch the entire thing.
I would just build an entirely new doll.
Turn it inside out. I think the tongue can bleed a little bit, but her dress is already a perfect bit of pink.
Oh, it's so difficult to remove bloodstains. I think it's rather fortuitous that we pulled apart this one.
Really?
Oh my god.
Stop it! Come on! I'm just trying to help. You want to go down because that's where the house is. We're on the house is us.
Oh, so you are some kind of terrifying collective. Is the monster big? Are you puppeted by something with 1,000 arms?
No, it's ugly.
Oh, well, that's up to the beholder. I'm sure it looks great.
Please, I can...
In that moment, I noticed something interesting. As I noticed the thing kept talking, the tongue almost lashed out. It reached up into a part of it all, bit down, and the doll itself seemed to almost be devoured by the tongue for a moment for a bit, until finally it was sort of jabbed with the sewing needle. All the same, the talking component in general of the doll itself seemed to sort of break down in front of us. I sort of looked, a bit sad that our easy access to such pressing, interesting questions was taken from us.
The build quality of these things is really subpar, honestly.
What are you going to do? Something gets popular to make, and then they just make it worse.
Well, if the house does not understand real craftsmanship, I see that I must go down at one point and show it how a real thing is made myself.
I suppose so. We should probably get out of here then.
Agreed.
Here. Can I... You know what? No, we'll just walk. I, for a moment, contemplated the idea of fully picking up Gartrinus and carrying him out, but all the same...
I would have hated that.
Yeah. As I started to come up, I saw the breakdown of everything else in front of us. A number of dolls in every which direction, seeming to fall apart.
I reached into my pack and I pulled out the candle wick. Swiftly lighting it. I paused for a moment, thinking about how the damage might spread to the library. I thought to myself and slowly turned. Turning towards Miss Bitter, I flashed my kindest smile. Hey, so, do you know what this is? I patted the wall.
Her attention turned slightly, shifting from anger over to the direction of Yayo and a bit of confusion for a moment. What is it, you dog?
This is a, this is a big pile of grease that's now spreading through the back wall. Do you know what this is? This is a fire source.
You wouldn't dare burn down this library. You couldn't do it.
I was thinking about it. I thought that your pipes were well insulated enough that it might just spread to, I don't know, wherever you came from, or at the very least, wound you bad enough to give us a chance to escape. So, how about this? All that stuff that you're ranting and raving about a second ago, that nobody appreciates you?
She stops, a sort of strange expression on her face. The truth, yes?
Well, you're the one who's the master of these whispers, right? You've been using them so effectively.
I am the master of whispers. I am the strongest of us in using whispers.
Well, I just happen to have a deep and pressing need for someone so masterful at controlling whispers. I mean, after all, it seems like you've been abandoned by poor, sweet Ganglion, stolen away by, holds out the doll at my side, this treacherous umami. If you were willing to share some of your deep and profound wisdom with these things, I hold up the whisper that is currently biting me. I'd be more than happy to show you the proper appreciation you deserve.
Yes, I'm afraid it might be hard to convince them not to kill all of you, but if you would appreciate the power of my ability with whispers, and perhaps it will be possible to spare at least your life. What is it you wish to know?
Delightful. Honestly, how did you get so good at controlling them? You're really messing us up.
Sweet might be the one who is the best at controlling whispers, but I am great at growing them. My power of being stern and strict with my punishments and rewards makes them bend to my will, for they must understand that I am truly the queen of whispers. To let a whisper get away with anything is a shame against it. It requires truly a great touch, one that only you seem to recognize I have.
Great. Great, Madame Bitter. Thank you for bestowing your wondrous wisdom on us. Are you sure? Are you positive that this has to end in bloodshed? What are you going to do? Now you found somebody that appreciates you for exactly what you are, a brilliant controller of whispers. Won't that reduce the number of people that respect you and your authority back down to 0?
A fair point. I will have it be known of my new stance. I will return. And suddenly, Bitter seemed to move past, shoving past Sour and pushing her way directly down. Stop it! Move! Ah! That turncoat. I'm gonna go eat her.
Guys, hear that?
Eat?
What was that?
That's something scary.
That's-
This is an opportunity. Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Action.
We all began moving, running as quick as we heard, heading there before the dolls began returning. We found ourselves to the clock. As we swiftly shoved it aside, we began moving out to the lounge again. And then it became a matter of running.
They say it's been too long. It's so nice to see you. You're a good friend of mine. So long farewell, adieu. No, I can't believe, oh no, not words from thee, but said in facsimile, yearning for that distant we. So I'm searching for near eternity, but I don't know where I should be. Love of branch, no family tree, no friends I have to see. An unfriendly Propensity is my natural state to take flight in perpetuity. And so echo back is only me cut off from precious we.